Welcome. In this segment, I'm going to show you how to create custom decorative wall inlays using our U-Cara Facia system. As you may be aware, Yukara is a two-part system with a backer and a fascia panel, which really allows you an immense amount of flexibility to create truly unique looks for your projects and for your clients. So here we have an example of what I mean when I say custom decorative wall inlays. Basically, you're taking what you might define as a walkway in a patio field, or an area where you're going to define the dining space or a certain space in the patio, and you're taking that vertical onto the wall. This is from our Unilock booth at Hardscape North America, and this really shows the level of creativity that you can bring with Yukara. Here's another great example. This was also at our booth at H&A. Obviously, this is a company logo, this is our company logo, but this is a great example of some of the unique things you can do with this system. And it's not just limited to exterior applications as you may initially think because it's a Hardscape product. This could be done inside on an office wall or the entryway to the headquarters just as you walk in. Interior and exterior applications. Both of these two examples that I've showed you were created using our Yukara wall mount system. This is the same type of example, but in this situation, we've used our backer blocks to create a seat wall. This was done in Michigan at one of our industry association trade shows. When we take a closer look at this wall, what I want you to notice is where those cuts are and the color changes, you get a nice accent and decorative piece into the wall. But what maintains is that running bond pattern through the wall. So you get the appearance of the color changing within a full panel. So I want you to imagine for a moment something like this in a landscape that you're creating. Now this is built with our Linneo wall. Wouldn't it be awesome if you could take that wall and curve it, do an inlay to simulate that water spilling out of that spillway, mirroring that effect? It'd be very difficult to do with Linneo. You'd have to worry about the structural component as well as the decorative component. With Yukara, you don't have to worry about that because the structure's in the backers and you can do whatever you want with the fascia to really create those custom, unique looks. And I'm going to show you how that's done. So the first thing you need to do is you need to determine where you're going to start on this wall. You're going to pick a point. This is where your base units come in handy. You can put a mark right on that base unit, figure out where you want that curve to go on the wall. Use a piece of something like a snap edge, something that you can flex and bend to use as a guide. I'm going to put this right on that mark on the wall, and now I can bend that to create whatever look I want, whatever effect I'm going for. Now, one thing I want to caution you on is when you do this, keep in mind where that cut line is going to fall. You don't want to fall too close to edges and corners of panels because it's going to increase the difficulty of cutting and hanging those panels and getting them to stay in place. So ideally, you're going to be kind of coming through more of the central part of that panel, away from these corners and edges. So I'm going to use this board here and that mark I just put on the ground. I'm going to figure out exactly where I want this curve to be, and I'm going to mark this board so we can create a template that we can use for putting this pattern right onto the wall. Now that we've got that marked on the board, just going to utilize your standard jigsaw, cut that out, take a sander to this, sand it up nice and clean so you've got a nice, clean, smooth edge to use. And as you can see, we've already done that on your right-hand side of the wall using this template. We're going to take this template, flip it over to the mark I put on the other side of the wall, and replicate this look. Now you can see where that cut's going to fall and how we're going to kind of have that simulated waterfall line coming down from both sides, giving you a really nice decorative accent to this. Now when you take these off and get ready to cut, the best thing to do is just to lay these out as if they were on the wall. I would recommend using multiple panels in the void spaces and around the perimeter to lock everything together. And this is very similar to if you were laying out your pavers at the edge of your paver and you're just cutting in a curved border. Now once I've got that laid out, I can go ahead and grab my saw. I'm just gonna go through and I'm gonna do a score cut right on the surface to get that line. Just follow that line. If anything, you wanna be a little outside, not into your finished area of that fascia panel. Once you've scored it, separate these out, take that saw, you're gonna plunge cut right down into that. Make sure you maintain that edge where you put that line. You don't wanna chip that or cut too far into your fascia panel. The other thing you may need to do is on some of these more aggressive or severe radiuses or curves, you're not gonna be able to cut that with just your standard saw. You're gonna need to take a grinder to the outside of this, just gently follow that line and clean that up. If you try to do it with the saw, it can be very difficult. I'm not talking about a lot of grinding, it's just a couple quick minutes. You're following through there, cleaning that up. So now we're gonna take these panels, ship them off to be cut. Now while that's happening, now we need to tie in the other color of our wall. We have our natural smooth panels being cut right now. We need to cut the other half of that inlay with the dark charcoal panels. This is again where that line, that mark on your base pad comes in handy. Shows you where that cut line is going to start. I know it's coming up and it's curving left. Now I'm going to take my jig. We're going to do exactly what we did with the natural panels. Now we've got those marked out. We're going to cut from this side to maintain this far left side of these panels to replicate what we've got on the right. Thank you, guys. All right, now that we have our panels cut, it's just a matter of laying them in to that cut line. We're going to start with our natural. And we're just going to slide these right in. And now if you can imagine that beautiful decorative inlay on that water feature, you've really created something unique. So I hope this has kind of opened your eyes to some of the possibilities of what you can do with Yukara. Hopefully inspired a little bit of creativity. Look forward to seeing what you guys do out there in the field. For more information, contact your local territory manager. Thank you.